Alright, Christian, here we are in part 3. As we see you drop down and we compare you to Chris Sale. I want you to watch this pitch from him. It's probably one of the best sliders you'll ever see, because what it does is it hits the batter in the leg, okay? Gets through the delivery, same arm slot, same arm action as his fastball. And here comes the slider, here comes the swing, and it hits him right in the foot. No chance on that, okay? Talk about that in a second, about what makes that successful. Alright, now let's watch you here. Alright, good action down on that. See if we can slow-mo that fully. And watch. As now you start breaking down, opening up, getting through. Alright, so let's talk about this for a second. So to really be able to be consistent underneath and submarine, you have to get your hips cleared earlier. I understand what you're doing on your knee earlier and getting your hips through. You have to, because you have to be able to get out your body out in front to rotate to be able to get there. Now, a lot of times you think a lot of these guys in the big leagues that throw submarine came up submarine. That's not true. 75 to 80% of them started out over the top and converted underneath. So there are some cons of submarine pitcher. Most of the guys at the big league level did not start that way. It's not something that scouts are actively seeking. If a guy's a dominant pitcher, they don't care how he throws. They want to have him on their team. It does put more stress on your shoulder and elbow, so you got to make sure you really are more efficient to really take care of yourself. Alright, but like I said, one of the biggest things is making sure, no matter what arm angle you throw at, that you are still creating downward plane and depth, okay? How that happens is it doesn't matter if you throw from here or if you're Chris Sale and you throw from there, same slot, same arm action, right there, is that I am on top of this baseball, okay, where I am forcing it down. Look at him on that slider. It's hard to see, but he is on top of that slider. His hands and fingers are on top, because that is what's creating the depth for that pitch to do that. If he wasn't on top, he would just throw something that would be able to break into the batter instead of having the depth of what he's doing. And same thing for you. If you're on the side of that baseball, that ball is just going to run this way. But you are pretty good on that one where you're on top and you get really good downward action. Enough so that your catcher's got to get out of the way. Alright? So I think that's one of the things to make sure of, is no matter where we throw at, like we've talked about, is I'm going to make sure my hand is on top of the baseball. You go look at these guys, Brad Ziegler, Chad Bradford, two guys I played with. I played with Brad Ziegler when he threw over the top in the minors. Was not that successful. He dropped down occasionally and was floundering around a lot in single A until he decided to go full-time submarine, where he started his career with, I think, the most scoreless innings in Major League history. And he's made a lot of money being able to be a closer, dropping down and throwing at a lower angle than you. He drops a little bit lower than that, but he does stay on top. He's got a really good slider with it, and he's able to control his fastball to both sides of the plate by getting depth on it. Alright, so what you're seeing here, you're seeing where your arm action is and out there. Let's break your mechanics down a little bit to see where you're at. Alright, so here we go. Everything starts the same here, pretty balanced. And the biggest difference here is when we start to see you lean forward, okay? Coming forward, and there's that lean. Instead of where you normally be up, you're leaning forward because you have to get out there. The big thing I see here is you are open all the way. you're opened even more so. I know you have to. You do lose power when you do that, but it does allow you to clear your hips. Because if you don't open up earlier, you're not going to be able to clear your hips. Now look at you there as you land. Alright? Now we start our rotation. And look at all the torque that is putting on your shoulder and elbow. And that front side, you're a little flying open. I think Sale's a little bit more closed off with his. Alright, and we see here that we talked about that back side. Look at that. That ball right there is in the same position. Look at where your leg is. Look at where his leg is. Alright, and look how flat his back is. And look how upright you are. Alright, means that you could get more extended by getting more out in front. If I got my body out there, instead I'm kind of standing up, not able to really finish and extend. So I think the biggest thing is saying, you know, there's been a lot of guys who've thrown submarine and been successful full time. I think it's something you've got to pick and choose, but make sure if I'm creating that angle down, I'm going to either get the depth that I want, or if I can throw a breaking ball from there. You talk about that slider. If I'm still on top, I'm able to get this depth where it's not just something that's coming in at an angle and staying on the same plane, but you're able to create planes by getting on top of the ball. For every Chris Sale, for every Chad Bradford and Brad Ziegler, there's a bunch of guys you never heard of. Jeff Coleman, David Beck, other guys that I played with that didn't make it. They couldn't command. They didn't have as good a stuff submarine as they did over the top, and it just didn't work out for them. So, all in all, I think this is something we've got to work through as to deciding, okay, what are the best options and when I want to do that. So ideally, it's going to be most difficult to hit that is if you're left-handed. I think you're going to be able to, just like Sale, be able to create good sliders down and in on righties and really get them to have problems hitting that thing fair, if anything. You can also create more arm side run if you can really get on top of the ball. I think you can be very effective at it. I think just there's some things we've got to work with, getting the lower half through better to create a little more power. And then also a big thing is just being consistent where I land and where I step. If you look at this, look how far across your body is. This foot is on this side of the rubber. This foot is on that side of the rubber. That's a big distance to be able to get out there and do consistently to release at the same arm action in the same arm slot. So it's something you really got to work with, and something I think we got to stay diligent about on making sure that you're consistently the same in your delivery for that. So hopefully that's helpful. We'll talk about it more as we work in some more future bullpens.